Hi, my name is Dr. John Heary, and today we're going to be talking about Candida. I call it it's the opportunistic infection. So, is yeast overgrowth, is it contributing to a more important underlying illness? Is Candida, is it a normal part of your natural, microflora? It's the most common cause of fungal infections worldwide. So, although it may be a contributing factor in some illnesses, it may actually be the cause of others. And however, it's almost always accompanies intestinal, immune, degenerative or toxicity related illnesses. Recovery from Candida overgrowth, it requires a whole lifestyle healing approach. And once it's diagnosed, the first step is to work on detecting the underlying cause. So, the first question is that you have to ask yourself is, how is yeast overgrowth? How is it diagnosed? And the truth is that everybody has Candida in their body, and it lives in your mucous membranes. So now yeast overgrowth, it is somewhat of a controversial illness, and many medical professionals they really haven't recognized it. So there's a few tests that are out there that are recognized to determine the levels of possible Candida overgrowth. One of those tests is the culture test, for skin and also for genital yeast infections, where they'll take a small skin sample and culture it, and they can determine the presence of yeast once they look at it under a microscope. Now, in the blood, antibodies can also be checked for the likelihood of Candida overgrowth. The antibodies; those are your IgGs, IgAs, IgMs. There's also stool and urine tests that can be done as well too. And if any of those tests are positive or show the possibility of Candida overgrowth, it's important to determine the actual cause of it. There's some possible causes include irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut, Crohn's disease, inflammatory bowel disease. All of those, they've been found to have a significant connection to yeast overgrowth. So, even if you were to perform these tests, the specific treatment will still be different, from individual to individual. There's underlying causes that must be determined, as to why there's actually a yeast overgrowth. Some of the symptoms that one may experience or one may have, when they have a Candida overgrowth, real commonly, low energy levels, right? Fatigue, may feel exhausted, have a white coat that you can see on the tongue, brain fog, hormone imbalances, joint pain, loss of sex drive. Some people have chronic sinus and allergy issues, digestive problems like gas, bloating, have a weak immune system, also UTIs as well. You know, we could we could argue that Candida within itself isn't the actual cause of the health problems. It's simply an opportunistic organism that thrives in an unhealthy host. Life factors of today's modern society can significantly create an environment for Candida overgrowth. These factors, such as antibiotic use, hormone replacement therapy, high sugar, high carb diets, nutrient, mineral deficiencies, toxic elements, stress levels. Right? Who doesn't have an increased amount of stress, especially these days, post COVID. Birth control use, coincide with the symptoms of Candida overgrowth that many people experience. Now, antibiotic use, it kills off not only the bad bacteria but also the good bacteria that are beneficial for our health. In fact, a lot of people don't know, but our gut, our digestive system, it's the first line of defense for our immune system. So as intestinal bacteria die, yeast are going to thrive and they're going to grow into large colonies, which can then take over which contribute towards this yeast overgrowth. While antibiotics, are often prescribed to treat bacterial infections, they're not effective against viral infections. Viral infections that shouldn't be treated with antibiotics, include colds, flu, most coughs, bronchitis, and sore throats, except for strep throat. Now, it's not just humans that overconsume antibiotics. Animals, which provide us food, like cattle, like pork, they're treated with antibiotics as well. Today, about 80% of the antibiotics used in the United States are fed to livestock. So you always want to take a probiotic whenever you're taking an antibiotic, and even after the round of the antibiotics finished, you should continue to take that probiotic. Other nutrients to consider that boost the body's immune system include vitamin C, vitamin D, oregano oil, zinc, lauricidin. Um, Now, hormone replacement therapy and birth control pills, they're widely used today for many different reasons. Um, but low energy, sleep disturbances, mood swings, contraceptives, weight gain. Those are just a few examples of why people typically jump to the conclusion that they have a hormone imbalance. So any increased use of the hormones estrogen or progesterone can upset the body's natural balance. But did you know that Candida also produces a waste product that mimics it mimics estrogen in the body? So it's a vicious cycle. If you're trying to treat your symptoms with hormones, and then in turn cause the body to send out messages that it's going to tell your body that you're producing more estrogen than it really is, or that it actually is. Estrogen dominance, and that's a whole nother topic, but we're all familiar with illnesses that are caused by this hormone, such as infertility, irregular bleeding during menses, migraines, fibrocystic breasts, and even some breast cancers. Um, so, we also need to talk about, the gut-brain connection. The gastrointestinal tract, it's one of the few places that neurotransmitters are made. So, if you don't know much about neurotransmitters, so neurotransmitters, they communicate information from our brain to our bodies. It's like telling a muscle to contract, or telling an endocrine gland to secrete hormones. There's many things that affect our body's ability to produce neurotransmitters, and it's estimated that up to 86% of Americans have suboptimal, or have lower than healthy neurotransmitter levels. Um, Stress, poor diet, drugs, caffeine. Those are just a few of the lifestyle factors that that can affect the production of our neurotransmitters. And this is important because if you have inflammation of the gut, or an imbalance of gut flora, other areas of the body are going to be affected, and your list of symptoms, it's going to increase, or it's going to expand. So um, about 80 to 95% of the body's total serotonin is produced and found in the gut. Scientists are currently paying more attention to the link that the gut and the brain have, and how it affects systemic inflammation. Pro-inflammatory substances from the gut, they can cross the blood-brain barrier and stimulate certain enzymes, which can also lead to a depletion of tryptophan as well. Now, tryptophan is an amino acid. It's also the precursor to serotonin. So, therefore, when you're treating depression, it's important to understand the link between your mental and also your digestive health. Um, Now, as far as Candida goes, the cell wall of Candida, it consists of about 80% carbohydrates. Okay, so this means that in order for the fungus to thrive, it relies on sugars, which are carbohydrates. That's what they break down into. Carbohydrates, they're found in all of our fruits, vegetables, and grains. Americans, they're eating more sugar every day, and sugar is what feeds Candida. Now, This is an article that I read. It was published in the Diabetes Journal. It said that Candida becomes more infective in a high glucose environment, meaning a high sugar environment, by producing some protein molecules, which bind to our immune cells, and then they don't allow them to be active against Candida. So what it's doing is it's going to suppress the immune system, which makes a person more vulnerable to infection and inflammation. So, Candida doesn't just thrive off glucose, it has the ability to utilize many sugars. And, this ability is what allows it to grow in different environments in our body. So, certain, lifestyle factors or lifestyle change that you want to consider. You definitely want to consider, eating a diet that's lower in sugar, that's higher in proteins, healthy fats, and also higher in vegetables as well too. Good protein sources include, eggs, chicken, fish, beans, and even steak. Especially if your iron levels are low. But it's also good. Make sure you do have some vitamin C or have tomatoes with that steak as well to get that iron out. Healthy fats to consume include avocado, nuts, seeds, olive oil, coconut oil. But you do want, make sure you limit your fruits to no more than 2 fruits per day, and you want to completely eliminate fruit juice. Also, you want to make sure you eliminate alcohol, soda, also sports drinks as well. You want to exclude dairy from the diet, okay, the best you can. And make sure that you read the ingredient labels, to see if there's high fructose corn syrup, which is found in a lot of condiments, and also prepackaged foods as well. And then you also want to make sure that you supplement your diet in areas that need work. So you want to make sure that you get proper testing done. That way you'll know exactly what you need to take. Proper testing includes a comprehensive blood analysis to determine where your deficiencies and also where your toxicities lie. Supplements that you may want to consider include digestive enzymes, probiotics, vitamin C, vitamin D, lauricidin, oregano oil, chlorella. Now, you also want to make sure that you limit your exposure to toxic elements. Okay, and then also you want to make sure that you add exercise into your lifestyle as well. Now, if you're already facing candidiasis, I strongly recommend that you work with a healthcare practitioner who understands the concept of finding the cause of your health problem. All right, so looking for the root cause, and not just one that's going to give you medications or even supplements based on your symptoms. Okay. Prevention of illness and optimizing your health, it's key. And comprehensive testing, it's going to find the weaknesses, the deficiencies, and even diseases long before you have symptoms. So I thank you for joining me again today. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. All right, you guys have a great day. Bye now.